She was the perfect daughter. Straight A student, concert pianist, figure skater. Her parents were so proud. But it was all a lie. She never graduated high school. She never went to university. She faked a college degree for years. And when her parents discovered the truth, she didn't confess. She didn't apologize. She hired hitmen to kill them. This is the story of Jennifer Pan and the interrogation where every single lie she ever told finally caught up with her. November 8th, 2010. Markham, Ontario, Canada. A quiet suburban neighborhood where families feel safe, where children grow up and parents dream of success. The Pan family lived in a modest two-story home on a tree-lined street. Huei Han Pan and Bich Ha Pan had immigrated from Vietnam decades earlier, working hard to build a life in Canada. They had one daughter, Jennifer, and they had high expectations for her. Very high expectations. And Jennifer spent her entire life trying to meet those expectations, or at least trying to make her parents believe she was meeting them. Jennifer Pan was born in 1986. From the moment she could walk, her parents pushed her to excel. Piano lessons, figure skating, martial arts, academic tutoring. Her schedule was packed from morning until night. There was no time for friends, no time for fun, just achievement. Success, perfection, and for a while, Jennifer delivered. She was a competitive figure skater. She played piano at a high level. Her grades were excellent. Her parents beamed with pride. Their daughter was going to be a doctor, or a pharmacist, or something prestigious, something that would make all their sacrifices worthwhile. But the pressure was crushing. In high school, Jennifer started to struggle. The coursework became harder. She couldn't keep up with both academics and all her extracurricular activities. Her grades began to slip, and instead of telling her parents, instead of asking for help, Jennifer made a choice. She started to lie, small lies at first. She would change grades on her report cards before showing them to her parents. She would forge teacher signatures. She would create fake progress reports. Her parents never suspected. They believed everything she told them, and the lies worked. So Jennifer kept lying. When it came time to apply to university, Jennifer told her parents she had been accepted to Ryerson University to study pharmacology. She showed them a fake acceptance letter she had created on her computer. Her parents were thrilled. Their daughter was going to be a pharmacist. But Jennifer had not been accepted to Ryerson. She had barely graduated high school. She had failed calculus. Her grades were not good enough for university. But her parents didn't know that. And Jennifer was determined to keep it that way. For the next 2 years, Jennifer pretended to go to university. She would leave the house every morning with her backpack. She would spend a day at cafes, at friend houses, anywhere but school. She would return home in the evening and tell her parents about her classes, her professors, her assignments. She even created fake report cards showing excellent grades. Her parents were so proud. They had no idea their daughter was spending her days doing nothing. No classes, no education, no future, just lies piled on top of lies. Eventually, Jennifer had to explain why she wasn't graduating after 2 years. So she told her parents she was switching programs. She said she wanted to study education instead of pharmacology. She showed them another fake acceptance letter, and the charade continued for 2 more years. Jennifer would leave for school each day. She got a part-time job at a restaurant to save money. She met a young man named Daniel Wong. They began dating, but she couldn't tell her parents about him. They wouldn't approve. He was older. He sold drugs. He wasn't the kind of man they wanted for their daughter. So Jennifer hid the relationship. Another lie added to the pile. By 2008, Jennifer was supposed to be graduating university. Her parents expected to attend her graduation ceremony. They expected to see their daughter receive her diploma. They were so excited. But there was no graduation. There was no diploma. Jennifer had never attended a single class. So she created an elaborate plan. She told her parents the graduation ceremony was for students only, no family allowed. She said she would receive her diploma in the mail. She even volunteered at a hospital for a few weeks and took photos and scrubs to make her parents think she was doing clinical rotations. The lies were becoming more complex, more desperate, more impossible to maintain. Her parents eventually wanted to see the diploma, so Jennifer created a fake one. She used her computer skills to design an official-looking document from the University of Toronto. She had it printed professionally. She showed it to her parents. They hung it on the wall. They were so proud of their daughter, the university graduate. But Jennifer's world was falling apart. She had no real education, no real career prospects. She was working in a restaurant and lying to everyone about her life. The pressure was unbearable, and her relationship with Daniel was becoming more serious. She wanted to be with him, but her parents would never allow it. In 2009, Jennifer's father discovered some of the lies. He found out she wasn't working where she said she was working. He started asking questions. He started digging into her story, and the entire web of lies began to unravel. Her parents were devastated. They had been deceived for years. Their perfect daughter was a fraud. They gave Jennifer an ultimatum. She could either break up with Daniel, move back home, follow their rules, and rebuild her life, or she could leave and never come back, be with Daniel, and lose her family forever. Jennifer chose her family. Or, at least, she pretended to. She moved back home. She broke up with Daniel. Or told her parents she did. But she was still seeing him secretly. She was still lying. And now she was angry. Angry at her parents for controlling her life. Angry at herself for all the lies. Angry at the situation she had created. And that anger began to twist into something dark. Something dangerous. Jennifer started talking to Daniel about her parents. About how they ruined her life. About how she wished they were gone. And those conversations turned into plans. Daniel had connections to people who did illegal things. People who could solve problems. People who could make people disappear. And Jennifer, incredibly, decided that the solution to her problems was to have her parents killed. Not to confess. Not to face the consequences of her lies. Not to start over. But to murder the people who gave her life. In late 2010, Jennifer and Daniel began planning the attack. They reached out to people who could do the job. They offered money. Jennifer told them details about her house, her parents' routines, the layout, the security. She drew maps. She gave them everything they needed. And on November 8th, 2010, the plan was put into action. That night, Jennifer was at home with her parents. Around 10 p.m., there was a knock at the door. Jennifer's father went to answer it. 3 men burst in. They were wearing black clothes and masks. They had guns. They tied up Jennifer's father. They tied up Jennifer's mother. They tied up Jennifer, but loosely. This was part of the plan. Jennifer was supposed to look like a victim, not an accomplice. The men ransacked the house, making it look like a robbery. Then they took Jennifer's father and mother to the basement, and they shot them. Jennifer's mother, Bich Ha, was shot multiple times. She died at the scene. Jennifer's father, Huei Han, was shot in the face and shoulder. But he survived. He was critically injured, but alive. And that survival would be Jennifer's undoing. Jennifer called 911. She was crying, hysterical, claiming she had been tied up and heard gunshots. The police arrived. Paramedics rushed her mother to the hospital, but she was pronounced dead. Her father was taken into emergency surgery, and Jennifer was taken to the police station to give a statement. She told police that 3 men had broken in, robbed the house, and shot her parents. She said she was tied up the whole time. She said she didn't see their faces. She said it was a random home invasion, a terrible tragedy, bad luck, and at first the police believed her. But then her father woke up from surgery, and he told a very different story. He said the men had spoken to Jennifer like they knew her. He said Jennifer had walked around the house freely while they were tied up. He said something wasn't right about how Jennifer was acting. The police started to look closer at Jennifer's story, and they found inconsistencies, little details that didn't add up. The way she was tied wasn't tight enough. The robbers took very little. The attack seemed too targeted, too specific. And there were phone records. Lots of phone records. Jennifer had been texting Daniel and others in the hours before the attack. Suspicious messages. Coded language. Plans. Detective Bill Getz was assigned to interrogate Jennifer. He was a veteran investigator, calm, patient, and strategic. He had seen liars before. But Jennifer Pan was about to give him one of the most elaborate performances he had ever witnessed. The interrogation took place over 2 sessions, several hours each. And Detective gets slowly, methodically, dismantled every single lie Jennifer had ever told. The first interrogation session started friendly. Gets treated Jennifer like a victim. He was sympathetic, understanding, and gentle. He asked her to walk him through the night, tell him everything she remembered. And Jennifer told her story. She said she was tied up. She said the men spoke a foreign language. She said they ransacked the house and then she heard gunshots. She cried. She seemed traumatized. And Gitz let her talk. He didn't interrupt. He didn't challenge her. He just listened because he was looking for cracks in the story. And there were many. After the first session, police dug deeper. They pulled phone records. They interviewed Daniel. They talked to the people Daniel knew. And they found the connection. They found the men who carried out the attack. And those men started talking. They said Jennifer had hired them. She had planned everything. She had given them the information. She had wanted her parents dead. The evidence was overwhelming. So Detective gets called Jennifer back for a second interrogation. And this time, he wasn't playing the sympathetic detective. This time, he was going to confront her with the truth. The second interrogation is a masterclass in detective work. It starts by building rapport again. He's still calm, still friendly. But then he starts asking questions. Small questions at first. About her relationship with Daniel. About her school. About her life. And Jennifer lies. She lies about Daniel, saying they broke up months ago. Gitz knows this is false. He has phone records showing they were texting the night of the murder. She lies about school, saying she graduated from university. Gitz knows she never attended. She lies about work, about her plans, about everything. And Gitz lets her lie, because every lie is another piece of evidence. Every lie is another nail in her coffin. Then Gitz shifts tactics. He tells Jennifer that they've spoken to other people, that the story isn't adding up, that he knows she's not telling the truth. And Jennifer's demeanor changes. She starts to fidget. She looks down. She wraps her arms around herself. She's feeling the pressure, but she doesn't confess. Not yet. She tries to explain away the inconsistencies. She creates new lies to cover the old lies. But Gitz is relentless. He presents the phone records. He tells her they know about Daniel. They know about the planning. They know about the money. They know everything. Jennifer starts to cry. Real tears this time. Not because she's sad about her mother, but because she's been caught. She realizes the lies won't work anymore. And finally, after hours of interrogation, she starts to admit small pieces of the truth. Yes, she was still seeing Daniel. Yes, they had talked about her parents. Yes, she knew some people who weren't good people. But she still won't admit to planning the murder. She tries to minimize her involvement. She tries to blame others. She tries to make herself sound like a victim of circumstance. But Gitz doesn't buy it. He knows she's the mastermind. And he keeps pushing. Eventually, Jennifer Pan gives what some would call a confession, though even then she tries to spin the story. She admits she was involved. She admits she knew it was going to happen. But she claims she didn't think they would actually kill anyone. She claims she thought they would just scare her parents. She claims it all went too far. It's a partial confession, full of justifications and excuses. But it's enough. Combined with the testimony of the hired killers, the phone records, and her father's statement, it's more than enough. Jennifer Pan was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and attempted murder. The trial took place in 2014. The prosecution presented the evidence methodically. The interrogation videos were played in court. Her lies, her planning, her cold manipulation, all lay bare for the jury to see. The defense tried to argue that Jennifer was a victim of her strict upbringing, that the pressure from her parents had driven her to desperation. But the jury saw through it. In December 2014, Jennifer Pan was found guilty of first-degree murder of her mother and attempted murder of her father. She was sentenced to life in prison with no possibility of parole for 25 years. Her father, Huei Han, survived the attack but lost his wife and his daughter. He testified at the trial, facing the daughter who had tried to have him killed. He described the betrayal, the heartbreak, the loss. He had worked his entire life to give Jennifer opportunities, and she had repaid him by hiring people to murder him. It's a tragedy on every level. A family destroyed by lies, pressure, and ultimately, cold-blooded murder. The Jennifer Pan case is studied by psychologists, criminologists, and law enforcement around the world. It's a case about the dangers of extreme parental pressure, about the consequences of living a lie, about how deception can spiral out of control until murder seems like a solution. But it's also a case about brilliant detective work. Detective Bill Getz didn't just catch a killer. He exposed an entire lifetime of lies in a few hours of interrogation. He was patient, strategic, and relentless, and his work ensured that justice was served. Jennifer Pan is currently serving her sentence in a Canadian prison. She will be eligible for parole in 2035, when she's nearly 50 years old. Her father has rebuilt his life as much as possible, but the scars remain. The case was recently featured in a Netflix documentary called What Jennifer Did, bringing renewed attention to the story. And the interrogation videos continue to be analyzed and studied as examples of how deception unravels under skilled questioning. This case reminds us that lies, no matter how carefully constructed, eventually collapse under their own weight. Jennifer Pan spent years building a false life, a false identity, a false reality. And when that reality started to crack, instead of facing the truth, she chose violence. She chose murder. And in the end, the truth came out anyway. Detective Getz made sure of that. Through patience, evidence, and strategic questioning, he dismantled every lie. And justice was served. If you want more interrogation breakdowns like this, subscribe to this channel. We analyze the psychology, the techniques, and the moments that reveal the truth. What do you think drove Jennifer to such an extreme decision? Was it the pressure from her parents, or something darker inside her? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.